Imagine investing a small amount in a cryptocurrency that could grow massively. We'll explore promising projects based on technology, adoption, and real-world use cases.
We're taking a peek into 2026 to explore the cryptocurrencies that could really shape the future. We're going to cut through all the hype and get right to the good stuff. The core technology, real-world use cases, and the big problems these projects are actually trying to solve.
I mean, this is the question, right? It's what pulls so many of us into the crypto world. The potential for that kind of incredible growth is definitely real, but it also comes with huge risks and even bigger questions. So which projects are actually laying the groundwork for a future that lasts? That's exactly what we're here to break down.
And hey, right up front, we have to get one crucial thing out of the way. This explainer is for educational purposes, and for educational purposes only. This is absolutely not financial advice. Our whole goal here is to help you understand the landscape, not to tell you where to put your money.
To even going, you've got to start with the bedrock it's all built on. And in this world, that means looking at the two undisputed pillars that basically support the entire ecosystem. So on one side, you've got Bitcoin, which everyone loves to call digital gold. It has a fixed supply, and more major institutions are getting into it, so a lot of people see it as a long-term store of value. Then you have Ethereum, which is totally different. It's more like a world computer. It's the engine that powers literally thousands of decentralized apps and all those NFTs you hear about. It completely dominates the world of smart contracts, which is the foundation for what many are calling Web3.
But the next version. As these foundational platforms get bigger, they run into a classic problem: traffic jams. Seriously. When everybody tries to use them at once, the whole network can slow to a crawl and get crazy expensive. And that has sparked a huge race to build the crypto superhighways of the future.
So this is the fundamental challenge. When a blockchain gets really popular, the network gets congested. And what does that mean for you? It means your transactions get super slow, and the fees you have to pay, they're often called gas fees, can just skyrocket. This is a massive barrier that's stopping this tech from being used by everyone, every single day.
So how do we fix this? Well, there are a couple of major approaches. First, you've got projects like Solana, which was built from the ground up for one main reason: blinding speed at a really low cost. Then you have Polygon, which works as a scaling solution for Ethereum. You can think of it like a fast lane built alongside Ethereum's main highway to make everything quicker and way more affordable.
And the innovation just keeps on coming. Another huge trend right now is the rise of Layer 2s. Just think of them as express lanes built directly on top of the main highway. Arbitrum is a perfect example. It sits on top of Ethereum, processing a ton of transactions in its own lane to cut down on traffic for the main network users.
Okay, so we've got our foundational layers and we have our high-speed highways, but what happens when you need these different networks to actually talk to each other? Or what if you need to connect them to data from the real world? Well, that's the next critical challenge that people are solving right now.
And this is where a project like Chainlink becomes absolutely essential. See, Chainlink isn't trying to be the fastest blockchain out there. Instead, it's solving a fundamental infrastructure problem by acting as a secure bridge for data.
The tech that makes this connection possible is called an oracle. An oracle is basically a service that feeds real-world data. We're talking stock prices, sports scores, weather info, anything, onto a blockchain. A ton of crypto projects simply can't function without this bridge to the outside world, which makes this technology a super critical piece of infrastructure for the entire industry.
But what about connecting different blockchains to each other? Well, that's the incredibly ambitious vision behind Cosmos. It's building what it calls the Internet of Blockchains. The goal is to create one big, seamless network where all these different chains can talk and share data freely. If the future isn't dominated by just one winner, but by lots of specialized blockchains, then Cosmos could be the universal together.
Okay, now let's look at what's bubbling up on the horizon. Innovators are always pushing the boundaries, and two of the biggest trends shaping what's next are the explosion of artificial intelligence and the huge push for greater accessibility. Render is a really fascinating project that sits right at the intersection of AI and blockchain. It's creating a decentralized network for GPU power. That's the raw computing muscle that AI needs to learn and grow. Now here's the game-changing part. Instead of all this power being controlled by a few tech giants, Render lets anyone contribute their spare GPU power and actually get paid for it. This could totally democratize AI development, making it cheaper and way more accessible for innovators everywhere. But look, for any of this stuff to go mainstream, it has to be easy for developers to actually build with it, and that's the entire focus of Near Protocol. By making the building process simpler while still keeping speeds high and costs low, it's basically rolling out the red carpet for the next wave of user-friendly crypto apps.
So, we've covered a ton of ground. How should anyone who's interested in this space actually approach it? Well, this final section offers a playbook of key principles you'll want to keep in mind.
These 4 principles are basically your anchor in a really fast-moving market. First, do your own research. That means going beyond the hype to really understand the tech and the team behind a project. Second, invest responsibly. The golden rule here is to never ever put in more money than you can truly afford to lose. Third, diversify your portfolio. Remember all those different categories we talked about? Foundational, speed, connectivity? Spreading your investments can really help manage risk. And finally, think long-term. This market is unbelievably volatile, and trying to chase quick profits is a super risky game.
And you know, this quote really just sums it all up perfectly. The crypto space is always changing. The projects leading the pack today might not be the leaders tomorrow. Success in this field really requires continuous learning and just staying informed about that next wave of innovation.
And that brings us to the end. We've looked at the foundational pillars, the high-speed solutions, the critical connectors, and the next frontier of innovation. So that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Which of these technologies, or maybe another one entirely, do you believe holds the most promise for building our digital future?